You know, because being in the King's English back in the Middle Ages when this was being prepared, the King James Authorized Version, as I said, they made a few mistakes because they didn't understand as much about Hebrew even as we do today. And that's another interesting story about why did they call the King James Bible the Authorized Version. It's because King James authorized his people to read only that version. And you'd better not be caught reading any other version. It's the authorized one. Period. You got a problem with that? You know, we catch you reading something we didn't authorize you to read. And so consequently, I think there's a lot to be said about the authorized version. Anyway, and the earth was without form and void is more correctly understood. And the footnotes, they clarify it. And the earth was without form and void, or translated, was without form and void in Hebrew is tohu vohu, which means became a waste and a desolation. And in the footnote below, you will see that was actually means became. And without form actually is interpreted in the footnote as a waste and a void. Not created tohu, but became tohu, meaning that the earth became a waste and a desolation. So God created the earth and then it became a waste and a desolation. It wasn't created that way. It sounds like what we're getting ready to do with the earth today. It was a beautiful place until it became a waste and a desolation by our masters who seek to destroy all things that are beautiful on the earth with bombs. I cannot imagine the insanity of a human creature who would go out to a South Sea islands in the Pacific called Bikini, one of the most desolate, beautiful paradise islands in the South Pacific, and there set up a damn atomic bomb. What kind of lunacy rules these maniacs in government? I don't believe they're human. I don't think they're from here. I think they have another agenda, and I think I know who they are. Again, tohu vavohu simply means it became a waste and a desolation. The earth was beautiful, and then it became a waste. This word is only found in the Bible twice. Once in Genesis 1:2, and the second time in Genesis 4:23. In Jeremiah 4:23. In the book of Jeremiah 4:23, we are told that Jeremiah is given a vision by God of the world that was before man was created. In the Bible, he says in Jeremiah 4:23, and I beheld the earth. This is in a vision, he says. In his vision, or in his dream, he says, I beheld the earth, and lo, it was without form and void. Again, tohu vavohu. No, that's not what it means. And lo, and beheld, lo, there was no man. So what Jeremiah is saying, once you understand the correct interpretation of that word tohu vavohu, is that Jeremiah is saying, I beheld the earth when there was no man, and it was a beautiful paradise, and then it became a waste and a desolation. Well, that makes sense that Adam and Eve would then be a recreation and be told to do it again, implying that the earth has had many ancient civilizations that have been destroyed, maybe by atomic warfare, maybe by other world technology that has destroyed life on the earth. And we very well, as I said before, might be heading in that direction again, a confrontation with the gods. I should not be a bit surprised if we're going to wake up soon and find out what we have done to the earth is now going to be paid back, and is going to come from those who have created us. They're coming back. Again, back to Jeremiah 4:23, it says, I beheld the earth, and lo, it was without form and void. I beheld, and lo, there was no man. I beheld, and lo, the fruitful place was a wilderness, and all the cities thereof were broken down, and the whole land shall become desolate. So there were cities, but now they're gone. They're desolate. And this, of course, as I said, was a vision before mankind was even on the earth. And I have a Bible translation called 26 Translations. It gives you all 26 translations in one Bible. Makes it easier for research. And on that Jeremiah 4:23, 24, etc., I go to that Bible and get the different translations' views, and they're all basically saying that I beheld the earth, and lo, it was without form and void, and the heavens had no light. And it goes on to tell you, like, I beheld the mountains, and they were trembling, and the hills were in commotion, implying a great earthquake. I saw the fertile field was now a waste, and I beheld the garden-like was now a desert, and all the cities had been broken down. The bottom line is that in the book of Jeremiah, it's saying in a vision, Jeremiah saw the earth when it was beautiful, but there was no man here, and then something terrible happened and destroyed the great cities. We've heard this motif many times in different ways. We've heard it in Genesis flood, when the flood of Noah's day, as I said, and we're all pretty much familiar with that. But then there's another scripture in Genesis 6:1 that says, and behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of water upon the earth. This is then Genesis 6 when God is going to bring the flood, wherein the breath of life from under the heavens and everything in it on the earth shall die. So we've been told about this great destruction. Well, I am of the opinion, and I think science is also, science has proven that there was never, could not ever be, a total world flood in which the entire earth was covered with water. That is, in point of fact, a scientific impossibility that has never and could never happen. However, we have had devastating earthquakes. We have had huge and destructive forces at work where whole nations have been crippled and whole cities have been wiped out by earthquakes or volcanoes or tsunami waves in Japan. So I think that this is what's being said, that there was a time when a great destruction came on the civilizations that were there. They weren't probably all over the earth, but wherever they were, something happened. Well, this is very reminiscent, of course, of Atlantis, because we're told that Atlantis was a very beautiful place, and one day they woke up and found it as a waste and a desolation. It just don't exist anymore. Well, go back to the Bible. Remembering, Atlantis was supposedly destroyed in one day and one night. That implies, if it was an island, and most likely it was a diffusion of islands, it wasn't just one island. It was like perhaps Australia, that have other islands like New Zealand and other islands around it. Most usually large islands have other diffusions of smaller ones around. And so I'm assuming that that probably was what was the case with Atlantis. But that the fact that Atlantis went under in one day and one night, as Plato said, how could one enormous island, say the size of Australia, go under and be destroyed in one day and one night, never to be seen again? That's like saying that Australia, and within 24 hours, no longer exists on the face of the earth. Well, you have to imagine that if something like that were to occur, two things are obvious. One is that the tsunami waves would cover the earth. The earth itself would feel the repercussions of such a tremendous feat of destruction in one place. The waves would be tremendous. Earthquakes would be tremendous around the world. It would disrupt the entire harmonics of the earth to have that much land destroyed in one day. Consequently, how would Atlantis or an Australia or any other large island, how is it possible that they could be destroyed in 24 hours and never seen again? The only way that is possible is for some